This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning. Good morning. So what kind of architecture does Jenkins follow? Master slave architecture. So Jenkins is the master, whereas instances we call them slaves or nodes. So what is the advantage of following this master slave architecture? Yeah, high availability means the load. Okay, load balancing. Also performance. So if you want to have your Jenkins master runs with high performance and high availability, and then so the master slave concept is helpful. Okay. Well, what master does? Master allocates or assigns the jobs to the slaves. Well, so slaves are nothing but instances. Those instances your slaves can run on cloud instances or else local instances, also on Docker containers. But so what is the label? Yeah, set of slaves. Right. Label is nothing but set of slaves. Right. So instead of running a job on a slave, so we run the jobs on label. So why we run the jobs on label? Yeah. So since label is nothing but set of slaves, right? Whenever the job is assigned by the master to a label, and master is going to select the available node on the label. If any one of the nodes is offline, our slaves are offline in that label, master has a choice of selecting the available slaves. Nothing but so it can maintain the high availability concept. But, okay. So can we run the jobs on master? Yes. Yeah. So why we run the jobs on master? Because master itself is considered as a slave. Master itself works as a slave or else node. Okay. So you can see that once you have the setup ready, Jenkins setup ready, and in Jenkins we have option called look at the list of nodes. When you click on the nodes, there you can see master also a node. So you can see that master. So we can run the jobs on master since master itself is a node. But we don't do it. If you want to maintain the performance, high availability, so don't run the jobs on master. So, well, let's talk about installation. So setup. So what is the setup, and then how are we going to do setup? So there are different ways we can set up Jenkins. So there are different ways. Among them, the first way is now Jenkins has a file which is Jenkins WAR file. So what is a WAR file? It's a web application, right? Now, since it's a web application, you must run that web application or any kind of WAR packages on a web server. I'm going to copy that Jenkins WAR file onto a web server, which is Tomcat. Once I copy that WAR file or deploy the WAR file onto the Tomcat, then your Jenkins will be up and running. Okay, well, so let me show you. So Jenkins WAR download, and so the URL is the updates.jenkins.ci. That's the URL. Download and then click on it. Jenkins has thousands of versions, so they have number of versions, and the current version is 2.283, and they do releases quite frequently, almost like they do releases once in a week. See that 8th March, and before that they had on 7th March, and then So February 23rd, so on. They have releases almost like every week. So you need to keep upgrade your Jenkins. So keep Jenkins upgraded. Okay. And then, so what version we're going to download and install it? So don't go with two older versions. For example, the current is 283 now. So do not go beyond n minus 7. So what is n minus 7 means? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, something like this. Don't go below that. What? So if you go below that, there will be some plugin conflicts. So what is a plugin? So I'm creating an continuous integration job on Jenkins. So whenever you create a continuous integration job, we need tools. What tools? A build tool and then repository tool. But the first question is how Jenkins understands what is Maven, let's say build tool, how Jenkins understand what is a repository, let's say GitHub. So you're creating some continuous integration job based upon these configurations. So repository and then a build tool, right? But how Jenkins know what is a repository? How Jenkins knows what is a build tool? So install these tools into Jenkins first. Once you install these tools into Jenkins, then Jenkins understands what exactly those tools are regarding. How to install or how to integrate these tools into Jenkins with a concept called plugins. So finally, what is a plugin? An extra functionality, added functionality, which is provided by Jenkins. Okay, so okay, we talk about them practically. So don't worry about the theoretical part. Go with at least. So those plugins has also versions. So here there will be some conflicts with plugin versions with Jenkins versions. So if I'm using something like Jenkins around 258, the plugin which you're going to install, that version might be conflicted with Jenkins version. So always make sure keep upgrade your Jenkins versions. Well, now, so remember these versions. So very rare. That's not very frequent. Very rare. About 10% of the chances. So you might have a question on these versions. The question is, for example, let's say my experience is about 4 years. Now, so what was the version you have started your career with Jenkins, and what is the latest version you are using, and what are the differences you have come across? So this is a kind of a typical question, but very rare. So yes, you should know the versions and the differences as well. So about 4 years ago, right? If you go with 4 years ago, go with 80, yeah, right? Something around 2017, almost like 3.5 years, right? Yeah, something like that. Go with 270, scroll down. Yeah, yeah, perfect. Yeah, March 12th, 2017. So 4 years ago. Yeah, this is a version. Now, what version? So you are starting your career with. Well, so this is the version I started my career with 2.500, 2.50. I'm sorry, 2.50, and then the cut version is 2.283, and the differences. Know first of all exactly, then into the comparisons. It's to discuss those questions, but so probably after some days you can try these comparisons. Okay, make a note of that question, but that's very rare. Not even 10% of the chances. So make sure. And so that's one thing. And the Tomcat, you can go with any Tomcat. So Tomcat, there's no version restrictions. Tomcat is also open source. You can download that open source Tomcat. Just a second. and the version is, the latest is 9. But we have 9 over here. It's only 8.563. That's okay. That's not a problem. Download that file, and the type of the file is .tar.gz. So tar is nothing but, on Windows we have zip files, right? Same like on Linux we have tar files. Which version? You can download with any version. We'll talk about the versions, but anyway, that's the first type of installation. And this installation you can do it either on Linux or Windows. Okay, you can try that on both. So the concept is same. Install Tomcat first and download the Jenkins bar file. Copy that onto Tomcat. Right? The second type of installation. So this type of installation you might come across mostly, and which is using yum. This is easiest installation. Okay, yum install Jenkins. Okay. Now, but if you like to do yum install Jenkins, so there are some steps. Firstly, I go to my RHEL instance, I run that command yum install Jenkins. If I do it, then the message will be failure. That means package not found. What package? Jenkins package. So download that first, then you can install it. Okay, how do you download it? So try that yum install Jenkins and you get that help. Now you can see that that is wiki.jenkins. Just a second, sorry. A minute. Sorry, yeah. So yum install Jenkins. Now go with, try this and look at that URL, which is wiki.jenkins. So Jenkins has wiki pages, help pages. Okay, now so click on it. If you don't find anything, something related to Jenkins, you can go to wiki.jenkins and you can just type your question. Mostly you'll be able to find a solution for that Jenkins. So these are the Red Hat distribution installations steps. So try these 3 steps. So these are the steps. First, go with wget. Wget stands for, what is the purpose? Download, right? So download it. What we are downloading? We are downloading. So do you remember? So we have a concept of FL repository concept. What is that? We have not discussed that practically, but we have discussed that theoretically. What is FL repository?
We don't have RPM file.
Yes. So if there is no RPM file, or else if the package is not found in yum repository, we download the external repository, right? So this is also an external repository, and this repository is provided by Jenkins. So we are downloading the repository first, and then so in the second step, and we are so importing a file. So that file is Jenkins IO key. So this key is used to unlock Jenkins. So whenever you install Jenkins, Jenkins is locked. We are downloading that key to download. We're downloading it to unlock the Jenkins. And finally, yum install Jenkins. So first we need a file, a repository first. That's your repository, and then so that is the key, and then you have install Jenkins. Then Jenkins will be installed. Okay, that is second type of installation. And if you want to try that on Ubuntu, so you have steps for Ubuntu. This is for RHEL, and for Ubuntu, that is for CentOS. They must have some Ubuntu as well. For Ubuntu, you can straight away download it. So you can go with apt-get install Jenkins. That will be installed. Okay, that's not required. Then that's second type of installation. And other type of installation is you can try just through command line. Open the command line. Could be any command line, Windows or Linux, and run this command java-jar Jenkins var. So Jenkins var will be extracted and your Jenkins will be up and running. That is using Java commands. But this is not at all recommended. Don't try this, because if you close the terminal and Jenkins will be terminated as well. Okay. Right. So you can try this also on Linux or Windows, because this is just a Java command. Okay. Right. The fourth type of installation is now Jenkins EXE. This is only on Windows. I think you know it, right? So it's an exe file, Windows exe file. Okay. So you can just download it and install it. So, but we never follow these two steps. That's very, very rare. We don't do it. So in very rare cases, for example, I want to have my Jenkins up and running within seconds. You can try that. Okay. And the last, which is somewhat different to other installations. So using Jenkins on Docker. Right. So Jenkins on Docker. But if you want to understand this, so you must know Docker first. We'll talk about this installation on Docker. How do I set up this Jenkins on Docker? We have some different concepts, so we'll talk about that. So at the time of Docker, okay, remember that. So we pull Docker image, we run that, we do some port mapping. So a lot of steps behind it. So that's why. So even if you do it, you don't understand the concept. You must know the concepts of Docker first, then we can talk about that. But so what we're going to follow mostly, which is used one, is these two. These are mostly used installation types. Now, I just do this from my side, and the second type of installation, you do it from your side. I think you know how to copy paste the commands. Yeah, try that. Okay, but try this on EC2. So try the first type of installation on virtual instance, and try the second type of installation on local instances. Sorry, on EC2. So you try that on EC2. And this is on virtual instance. Okay. But if you want to have Jenkins installed, so you need to install some prerequisites first. So what are they? You should have installed already if you want to have Jenkins installed. Now, what was that? Yeah, Java, JDK. So Java is mandatory for Jenkins, right? Jenkins, see, look at here, Jenkins var file, right? So this is a Java-based application. So since it's a Java-based application, JDK is mandatory. So we install JDK first. But when you talk about JDK, there is a version restriction. So what is the version? At least 144, 144, any version after that. Okay. So any version after that. So between 8.144 and to the latest, which is 10.1. Okay. And where do you install that? Do you install that on master instance or slave instances? So we have two types of instances, right? Master and slaves. So where do you install that? Master and slaves, both. So if you want to launch instances as your Jenkins slaves also must have the JDK installed. Okay. Otherwise, you cannot launch that instance as a Jenkins slave. The second point. And yeah, we need Tomcat. So which version? Any version 8 or any version after that. Any version in between 8 and 9. So version does not matter for Tomcat. You can also go with 7 version. That's not a problem. So where do you install this? Do we install that on master instance or slave instance? So look at here again. We have Jenkins WAR file, right? That means that's our Jenkins application. Right. So where do you install Jenkins? That's on master instance, right? That is why we call them Jenkins master. Right. So that is on master only. Then finally Jenkins WAR file. So which version? So go with 10-7. Okay, latest -7 at least. Don't go latest. Latest. Okay. Anything between that. Now, what is the latest version is 2. So remember these versions. Okay, remember them. It's version. And this is also on only for master purpose. That's nothing but your Jenkins. Then what else we install on the slave side? The tools, right? So like yesterday I've seen. So we have seen that we create labels. How do you create labels? By adding slaves to the labels. On what basis you add slaves to the labels? Yes. So if all the slaves are having equal configurations, we add them to the slaves. Sorry, no, labels. Now, what do you mean by configurations? The tools, right? Now, so where do you install the tools? Slaves. The slaves. So now on the requirement, you can install these tools and Maven or Git and also Subversion, whatever the tools you want to install them on the slaves. And of course, slaves must also have JDK. So that's what we're going to try with first. So let's set up the slaves. We set up the slaves and then, so I'm going to install some different types of tools. I'm going to show you the steps of how to install JDK and we'll try with some tools as well. We'll try to install the tools. So what I'm going to install first, let's install JDK. See, whether it's a slave or a master, the steps of installing the tools are same. Okay, so don't think that we are installing JDK on slaves. Is it different steps we follow for master instance? See, these are like tools installations, right? So let's try with first tools installation. We're going to try with now JDK. So what is the first step when you install JDK? You can try with the first step is, as usual, like we have done on Windows, right? So what are the steps? You download it and then install it. But here there is no installation, it's only extract. There is no installation. So why? We download a file and the file type is .tar file. So look at the file type is jdk.tar. Okay. So download that first just by googling it. Let's Google it. So jdk 8144, download it. And that's Oracle website. From there, and the version is 8.281. So is it under required version? So minimum is 8.144. The version I say is 8.281. So I can do it. So what is that file type is? Try with that .tat.gz. You can also try with RPM files. Nothing wrong. You can try with RPM as well. So RPM is like installing it, whereas tar is extracting it and then set up the variables like we have done for Maven. How did we do for Maven? Extract it and then install. Sorry, path variable setup. So you can try that. So this installation is very easy. So download the tar file, and I already have it. But the version I have is 8.141. But you don't try with 141. You go with at least 144. That's minimal version. Okay. Now extract it. How to extract it? Tar. Why tar? This is an tar file. Extract it. -x. X stands for extract. Z. So what is Z? Unzipping it. So it is gunzip. GZ stands for gunzip. I want to unzip with the option called Z. And V stands for, what is V stands for? What was that? Verbose. Verbose. F stands for forcefully. Okay. So don't ask me what is verbose. What is verbose? Installation on the, yeah, on the screen. You want to see the installation. Now just look at here and extracting it. That's verbose. You can see that. Well, so that is extracted, and then, so what is extracted folder? There is a folder extracted, right? Now the next step is, so first look at the folder. So it is extracted, and so you want to maintain that same directory in that path. What is the path is? Media. You can do it, or else you want to copy that to some other path. That's your choice. So I want to copy that to something like in .java. You copy that recursively. So I already have the Java folder. Whether you want to overwrite it, I don't want to overwrite it. Just skip it. Just say no. Just cancel it. So, but that is just optional. That is a choice. Well, you want to maintain that folder in the same directory, you can do it. But I prefer that in the root directory. So there I can see that CD and then Java. It's already there. This is where is my Java is extracted. Just copy that directory. Nothing else. Okay. Now, so go with next. What is the next step is? Once it's extracted, how to extract it? Tab. So xzvf, and then so jdk, and the file name tab, then gz. That's the first step. And the second step is path variables. Path variables are environment variables. So where do you set the path variables? In Windows, we have set the path variables under system variables, right? System settings. And here you're doing under root user directory, root user home directory. and then list all files. So what is that file is? Bash underscore profile. That is a file where we set the path variables. Open the file. Just a second. Right. So whenever you open the file, this is how you see your file for the first time. Okay. What that file has, the file already has a path variable. See that? Already there is a path variable. So in that path variable, so what do we see? Home and then bin. So what is that? So we are running some binaries, right? The commands. So where are these binaries are? In the bin directory. Yes, you can see them under bin. These are the binaries. So why these binaries are, we are able to run it, since these binaries are set as a path variable. So that's the reason these binaries can be run from any path, from anywhere on your system. Like, so on JDK, so on Windows, we have set the variables, JDK, Java variables and Maven variables. Why did we set them up? So that I can run the commands from the prompt, the same reason. Okay. Now, so let it be, don't touch that. This is your system variable, system path variable. If you do any mistakes in this, you won't be able to run the commands. Then, so if the command, you're not able to run the commands, can you open the file again? If you want to open the file, you need some VI editor. What is that VI? Again, binary. But I'm not able to run the binaries itself. How are you going to edit the file? So don't touch it. Just leave that. Right. So let's add our variables. What is the variable is? How to add it? Export. And the variable name? What's the Java home variable name? Java underscore home. See, variable names don't change. So they are standard variable names. And the value where this is extracted, I have extracted to root and then Java. Okay. And second variable, what is that? See, just like we have done on Windows path, right? So there is no change. See, variables names don't get changed. Export and path. Path. Okay. And then, so how do you write the path? Just like in Windows, we have used percentile Java underscore home. So here we use dollar Java underscore home, but that's in upper cases, right? Java underscore home slash bin colon. So how many path variables we have? Two, right? You see two, path, also path. But usually how many path variables we define? Path variables are always one. You cannot create any variable with two same names. That's not possible. So that's the reason I'm appending that variable to the existing path variable. So what is the existing path variable name is also path. I'm appending that to a new path variable. Then both variables will be considered as just one. And if you forget to append it, so there will be two path variables, and what will be loaded as a path variable default is this will be loaded because this is what you have first initially. So that will be loaded, and the second path variable won't be loaded. So you won't be able to run any commands. So be careful when you do it. So path, okay, and then just save it. I'm not saving it, but you just save it from your side. Just save it. Okay. And then if your terminal is open, close the terminal, restart the terminal, and then check for Java version. So that's a version. So I've set up for JDK. And so if anyone is using RHEL6 just like me, even after you set up the variables, so when you try that Java version, and the version you set up version is going to display is instead of 8 version, it is going to give you 8. Instead of 8, it is going to give you 6 version. Why is it so? See, by default, RHEL6 has Java 6 version installed. That's by default. And if you go with RHEL7, I think that is 7 version or 8 version. I'm not sure. But here, RHEL6, you have 6 version, Java 1.6. And that is installed by default. So even after you set up this path variable, and it is going to show you still 1.6. So remove the existing version first. How to remove the package? I'm asking how to remove the existing package. That package was installed through RPM. That is a default installation done by the OS. They have installed it through RPM. Now I want to remove that. Remove. How do you remove that? RM? RM package name? Just RM or something else? How to remove packages? Okay, you try it. Okay, you try that. So we have gone through that in Linux sessions. That was our last session. If you have practiced it, you would have remembered the commands. So remove that package. So if you get version is 1.6, remove the package. So, but if you want to remove the package, first you list the package. How to list packages? RPM. RPM list. RPM list does not list the packages you have installed. It is going to list the packages on yum repository. RPM hyphen QA, right? RPM hyphen QA, and then, but it is going to list all the packages, right? Grep, and then JDK. So we'll be listing the package name. So once the package is displayed, and get the package name, and then remove it. How to remove it? RPM. You can use also yum, of course. And if you want to use it, if you want to go through RPM. How to remove package through RPM? Hyphen RM. Is it hyphen RM? RM or hyphen RM? Is it like RM? Is it RS? Whatever, you try that, and then your package name. Okay, so try that, and then existing package will be deleted. It is going to list you the new package. Okay. What was that? EVH erase. Right. Try that. If you want to use it through yum, it is yum erase. Right. RPM is for -e. Well. So these are the steps, and set the variable path variables. So what is that file? We set the path variables. Vi, that is /root. Then what's the file name? Batch underscore profile, and which is export, and then Java underscore home, and then the path. Next is export path first $Java underscore home, slash bin colon, go with colon, and then dollar path. Okay. Then that's for Java. And also better you said install Ant as well. Just get that Ant installation is also done. See, I'm going to show you continuous integration with Ant as a build tool and Subversion as a repository. Okay, I'm going to show you the type of continuous integration. So get this installation done. How do you do that? So download and then also extract it, same thing. And download. All the installations are same. Download them, extract them, and path variables. Even for Maven and the Tomcat, it's all same. Good. So try that 1.10.9. But for that, minimum Java requirement is Java 8. We already have Java 8 144 or 144. Yeah, 144. So you can install that Ant version. And then which one? TAR. Okay, download the TAR file. It's a file. You download it. So Apache, where is that Ant? That's a file. Again, the same thing. Cat, extract it, xzvf, and then Apache Ant cat.gz. Bin, sorry, bin and then cat.gz, extract it. And then you have Apache Ant folder. And the same thing again, you want to copy that, you can copy that to root directory or you just leave it. So copy. It's also already there. You want to overwrite it, you can overwrite it. Just cancel it. Now, in root, then you have Ant. Okay. So cd Ant. So this is my Ant path where Ant is extracted. Just extract it, nothing else. And then again repeat the steps. What are they? What path variables? In root, what is that file name? .bash underscore file. Open the file. Just a second. Just remove that. Okay. So this is what we have set up for Java. Now let's set up for Ant. Okay. So what is that path variable name for Ant? Just like Java underscore home, it is Ant underscore home. So and then Ant path. Next path variable, we have path variable, and then for the path variable, it is dollar and then Ant underscore home slash bin. Same steps. So again, just save it. I'm not saving it, but save it from your side and try that Ant version. Sorry. and version. This version. Yeah. So that's the version I have installed, 1.9.6. And the steps again, same steps, and first extract it, xzbf, and then and Apache and the file name. Whatever file name that is, file gz, and then so path variables, set the path variables. So what is that file will set the path variable, which is var and then bash underscore profile. That's a file. And then so in this file we already have added jdk and adding another variable export and what is that, and underscore home. Then the path and then the path variable. So what is that, dollar and underscore home slash bin. Okay. Well, and you want to do the same thing for Maven, so do it for Maven. Again, the same steps. So it's all same steps. We'll be repeating. So download it first. Maven download. So download the, where is the tar file? The first one. Download the file. So download it. So I think I don't have that. Maven, do I have it? I don't have Maven, I think so. That's on another instance. But let me give you the steps. You try that. Okay? You try that. So download it. And what is that command to extract it? Just tar again. So tar xzvf. Just try that file name. Extract it, and then so the same thing again, path variable setup. So what's the variable name? Reb2 underscore, not Maven. And then so the folder name, wherever that is extracted. And next, how many variables are there for Maven? 3, right? Okay. The second one is Maven underscore OPTS. Yes. So what is the value? X, capital XMX, MS 256 EM space, capital XMX 512 EM. That's memory variable. And next is path. So for the path, what is that? Dollar and then M2 underscore home slash just a second. So this is your variable has to look like after you set up JDK and then make. So these are the different tools. Finally, see these tools Maven and then add and then JDK, you need to install them, these three tools on node side, slave side. But whereas Maven and install them only on the nodes or slaves. So that means you need to repeat these steps 2 times. One is on the master, other one is on the node. Okay. So JDK install them on both nodes, both instances, master instance, slave instance. But Maven and so your choice. So you want to install them on Maven on the master or the node, you do it. But so I recommend do it on slave node, slave instance. And now proceed with Git. Git you can do it. You have installed Git. Try that. Okay. So you want to install Git? Let's just try that. You have installed Git. We have tried it on AWS EC2 instances, right? Try that. And go with next is no. So this is the actual installation now for Tomcat. Let's type for Tomcat. So again, same steps, download Tomcat and then install, extract it. That's for Tomcat. So all these tools are on Google Drive. You can find it from Google Drive. It's all there in .dev software folder. And download the cat file again. That's cat file. So this is I have the cat file. This is a cat file, and then cat xzbf, and then the file name .gz extracted. Then that's my file. I want to copy. Yes, copy. Somewhere in Tomcat, but I already have that folder. I don't want to recopy that. Back to root. There I have my Tomcat. There is a Tomcat. Okay, that's Tomcat. So this is where Tomcat is extracted. Okay, and the next step, path variables. Path variables, list all files. So bash score profile. Okay. So well, this is the one. Show me. Sure. I don't want to remove them actually. Anyway, let's go export. And the variable name is, this is not Tomcat home, so this is Catalina underscore home. Catalina is the Tomcat service. It's a service name, Catalina underscore home, and then the path. Right? And next variable. What is that? Catalina underscore home. Slash bin. Right. Just save it. So save it. No, I'm not saving it anyway. So you want to try that again? Just try this. for the same file, we just add it, your Tomcat. Export is Catalina underscore home, and then the path is equals to the path. Next is, where is the variable, path variable? It's a path variable. So what is that? Catalina underscore home. Slash bin. So once you set up all these variables, so this is your final path. Okay. All these variables, and then that's your final path variable. Okay. And if you do any mistake, see, for example, Java has not been set up correctly. If the Java is not set up correctly, and then Maven, even Tomcat, they don't work, because all these are Java based tools. Ant is a Java build tool. Maven is also Java build tool. Tomcat is also a Java based tool. So if you want to have those tools work smoothly, make sure first your Java is set up correctly. Okay. So if Ant is not set up correctly, or Maven is not set up correctly, that is not going to affect Tomcat. But JDK is not installed correctly, that is going to affect your Tomcat. Okay. Now, finally, after you set up these ones, how do I check that Tomcat is working smoothly? Now, first, open the Tomcat home directory. This is Tomcat home directory, and here you have bin directory. There you can find the Tomcat related binaries. So there are a couple of scripts, which is shutdown.sh and then startup.sh. So these are the scripts we use it for shutting down and then starting up Tomcat. So how do you do that? /shutdown.sh. This is a shell script. Okay, sh means shell script. And that script, how do you run them? / and then shell script name, and then run it. Tomcat is shutting down, and if you want to start up, then go with /startup.sh. Tomcat is started. After you start your Tomcat, just open browser. And so what do we enter? You enter HTTP and then localhost port 8080. So what is 8080? It's a Tomcat default port number. Tomcat runs on 80 port number. How do you check that? You can do it through the Tomcat home directory. So back to Tomcat home directory, and there you can see config directory. And so you have, so what is that? Server.xml. Yes, server.xml, and you can see the port number 8080. Where is that? Is it gone? Connecting. Yeah. There is your connector port is 8080. Right. So 8080 is the default port number, and if you want to change the port number, that is also can be changed. Right. So that's why we go with 8080 port number as a default, and then enter. Tomcat is loaded. But how to access this Tomcat from remote browser? So this is my remote browser, right? Go with IP address. So what is IP address of my instance? Let's go with IP address. So 182, 168, 242, 137, 168, 242, 137, and the port number is 88. Okay, just enter. Tomcat is loaded. But make sure you have firewalls are stopped. What are the two firewalls on RHEL 6? Service, IP tables, so as well as IP6 tables. If these firewalls are running, so you cannot access that Tomcat because these firewalls block the request. Okay. So I have started them and then check this, refresh, it won't be loaded. Right. So it takes time, but you get a message called can't be reached. So we have Tomcat is also done. The final step is Jenkins. But we'll take that. So Jenkins setup in tomorrow's session. Okay. So go with tomorrow. We take that Jenkins WAR file and then deploy that on Tomcat, and then we'll see how Jenkins can be loaded from the remote browser. Okay. So for today, just try all these steps. Install the required tools for today. Okay, all these tools and get Tomcat also done. Jenkins setup we cover tomorrow session. Okay. Well, any questions? Okay, thank you.